Follow Emily and I as we perform some maintenance and inspections on an RV. Then, Emily will dig a little deeper into the details of RV axles. And stick around to see me take on one frequently asked question that will empower any camper. Emily!
Charlie!
I'm here to rock and roll. What are we doing today?
Well, I was thinking that we could start going through our annual maintenance list for this travel trailer. There's a few areas that are quite neglected.
Yeah, I've looked at it, yeah.
So I was thinking that we could go through a few procedures today and see how far we really get on that list. But I did put this list together so that we know everything we need to check off for our procedures.
Oh, that makes sense. Let's get after it.
All right, I think we should start at the axles. If you want, you can start with the inspection and I'll go grab the tools for repacking the bearings.
Awesome, thank you for doing that.
Absolutely, here you go.
Oh, you know how much I love my lists.
Can't live without it.
Now, the first thing that you're going to do is a preliminary inspection. That consists of looking at all your leaf springs, your hangers, your axles, your tire wear, all of the above when you're looking at the suspension. Let's break down each item on the list. Oh, hey, Emily.
Hey, Charlie. I got all our tools for our bearing repack, and I brought a special tool for us to help explain what we're going through here.
Oh, good. I'm just going over all the items on the inspection list with the audience and starting with the rust. So we know that rust is going to happen, but we need to make sure that that's not causing any other issues.
Exactly. I know a lot of people don't realize that rust is really going to tear your frame apart, and it's unavoidable with metal components, especially when you're driving through salt or dirty roads. That water is going to cause that rust, and it definitely needs taken care of at least once a year.
But we can fix that by brushing that off, getting the rust off with maybe a metal brush, and then repainting it with material that will be an inhibitor of rust.
Yep, they make the spray paints that are black that are rust inhibitors, or you could use like Quickie Lube from Lippert that also inhibits the rust, but that's more like a grease coating to protect that metal.
Okay, gotcha. So starting with the rust, now we're going to some different components. So we're looking at leaf springs and equalizers and axle hangers. What are we looking for there?
You really want to look for that rust and see how much rust has been produced from that weather. And then you also want to look for cracks. Cracks in your frame can become very dangerous.
That sounds dangerous.
And you want a service technician to really come and repair that before you travel, because that will continue to crack apart. Same for the leaf springs. They should be in good condition. The shackles.
And another thing, we have that alignment issue. So we're driving down the road and we hit a pothole and the tires get misaligned. It's really hard to see as a user. To the naked eye, it looks the same, but the tires may be out of alignment, causing issues all the way down the line. So
exactly, and that tire wear is a good indicator that you need to inspect those parts. All of these components really come together to create your axle and suspension system, and if there's any excessive wear on these parts, like the shackles or the springs, even your axle tube has that built-in camber to aid in that alignment and make sure that you steer straight while driving.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I've seen axles that lose their camber and the tires wear differently.
Exactly.
And they go out a lot earlier than expected. So what about bearings?
Well, that's why I brought this lovely little mock-up over, so that we can kind of
favorite.
talk about the parts before we get covered in grease and can't touch anything.
Ugh, gosh, I'm looking forward to that.
I
Let's
know
do it.
it's your favorite part. This is the mock-up that we use during our trainings. You used it during your webinar, and they use it in almost every owner's and technician training. And it's really great for showcasing each of the parts that really make up that drum brake system.
Yeah, it gives you a really good visual of everything blown apart.
Exactly. Doing the inspection every 12 months or 36,000 miles is very important because these are all components that you don't generally have eyes on, so you don't know when they go bad.
So on the inspection list, what is this called?
Well, you would go through this inspection while you're repacking your bearings every 12 months.
So there's an inspection inside of an inspection is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Got it.
Really just a great time to do that during the procedure because you're going to have everything torn apart anyway, and then you'll know what parts you need to replace. Like these brakes, they can only be worn down to 1/16 of an inch before they need replaced, or if they're contaminated with grease, they need replaced as well.
So every 36,000 miles or 12 months, you're going to pull this hub off, take a look at the brakes, the seal, the cone bearing, the cone itself, and all the way back to the axle cover.
Exactly.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's really important. So what happens if you don't?
You tell me, Charlie.
Catastrophe.
So what are we looking for when we're doing this inspection? You know as well as I do what these parts should look like.
Well, first and foremost, you need to pack that grease in there once a year, at least make sure that there's grease in there. So if there's no grease, you'll see that excess wear.
These parts should really look almost brand new when you're pulling everything apart because that grease is really protecting the bearings, the cones, and making sure it stays cool and lubricated during operation. But I know if you're a technician and you've redone brakes and gotten any grease on the brakes, that's a porous friction material. So when it's activated inside that drum, it will produce that grease no matter how well you've cleaned it. So if you make that mistake, you're paying for it.
I've always been told if you get grease on the brakes, you take them off, period, end of story, because they don't come out. So you open this thing up and they're all grease. You see the grease on there. You need to clean those, right?
Yep.
Before you recognize whether they're worn or they look brand new.
Exactly. And then the brakes, well, the brake pads, the shoes really, will tell you when they need replaced as well. You shouldn't have any horizontal cracking, but vertical cracking is okay.
So I'm gonna repack the bearings on this unit, and I got bad news for you. You're gonna help me.
Oh, exciting. Well, I guess I can do one while you do three. Let's go.
What? That's not how it works. And I hate your math. Today we've covered several important procedures. For comprehensive demonstrations of these procedures in action, visit and subscribe to our Lippert YouTube page.
And if you prefer reading detailed step-by-step instructions, our support site at support.lci1.com has you covered. Click the links in the description below to learn more.
All right, Emily, this is my last axle.
Well, I'm glad I could be here for more support, Charlie.
No, I really appreciate it.
Well, I think all we've got next for finishing up Axels is testing the brakes. So I'll grab the multimeter and we can head to the front of the unit.
All right, let's go.
How was the tire pressure, Charlie?
Oh, all good. Checked all 4 tires. They're good to go.
Awesome. Are you ready to check these brakes?
Yeah, I would like that. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, I think you can check it.
Okay.
We can kind of talk through what we should be seeing for this procedure.
The easiest way to check these brakes is to find that quick disconnect switch that pulls out when the separation from the truck and the trailer happens. At this point, you're driving down the road and there's no voltage, there's no amps to those brakes, they're not actuated, right?
Exactly.
So what happens is this emergency switch gets pulled, and then all of a sudden your battery power on the RV supplies 12 volts and 12 amps to those brakes and actuates them, and you get your emergency stopping.
Exactly. That's the exact function of that emergency breakaway switch, is to supply that 12 volts to all of your brakes for at least 15 minutes after that emergency has actuated the switch.
Yeah, I'm glad they invented that. So There's 2 wires on the back of this actuator, and we can clamp around one of the wires, doesn't matter which one, and test for that amperage. So what we'll do is we'll set this multimeter to DC amps and clamp around one of those wires, and I'll pull this switch out and it should read about 12 amps.
Is there a specific amount of amps per break that makes up that 12 amps?
Sure, so there's 4 breaks and there's 12 amps. So you're probably going to be reading about 3 amps per break, but in this situation, we're gonna read the full 12 amps, hopefully.
So if we had a triple axle, we would be seeing 18 amps, and if we had a single axle, it would be 6.
Correct, yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this and read your 12 amps. And so our brake system is good. So the wiring is good, we know that the battery is supplying that voltage, and we're all set.
What does it mean if you don't reach that 12 amps while testing the brakes?
It could mean several different things. We have the actuators themselves, we have the wiring, we also have battery power, which is probably going to be most of your culprit. When you have a bad battery, that voltage and amperage won't read what you want.
Well, I think that's it for checking the brakes, making sure that they're good. Are you ready for the rest of the procedures?
Well, it depends. Am I going to do this sanitation thing?
You sure are. Here's your checklist.
The answer is no then. I don't want to do it,
Oh,
but
well,
I will.
I'll check in with you after the roof inspection.
Oh, great.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
I'm supposed to go this way. Inspecting your roof is a vital part of making sure your RV stays in good condition. If there is any water intrusion in any portion of the roof membrane, it can destroy the roof and the structural integrity of the entire RV. Now, the first thing that you want to do before coming onto your roof is make sure that it is capable of being walked on. Some RVs will come with a pre-installed ladder so that you can access the roof, but always check your owner's manual and make sure that it is structurally sound enough to support your weight. If not, you can always lay plywood down to create a walking path. And always make sure that you plan your path for walking. There's a lot of components that you can trip on and make this situation very unsafe. And the first thing that you want to do is to clean off your RV roof. So you'll take a soft brush, broom, and sweep off all the debris, sticks, leaves, everything. Make sure it's clear below. Once all of the debris is cleared off your roof, you can start inspecting the membrane and the seals. The seals that are around all these components are composed of a primary seal and a secondary seal. The primary seal is a butyl tape that's between the component and the roof membrane, and the secondary seal, which is what we're inspecting today, is the self-level that surrounds each component. Another repair you can do once the roof is cleaned is repairing the membrane. Now, small holes like you see here can create extreme damage from water intrusion. You can see that right here, it's all spongy and a lot of that decking has eroded away from that water damage. So you would repair this as soon as you notice the damage in the roof membrane. You can use a Alpha Bond tape or a Turnabond tape. Again, you would clean the area with dish soap and water, rinse that, make sure it dries fully, lay the tape on top of that hole, and make sure it extends past that hole about 3 inches on all sides. And then cover that tape, each edge, with the self-leveling sealant. If it's close to the edge like you see here, you could use a combination of self-leveling or non-sag sealant. Non-sag sealant is more for vertical surfaces, so that it doesn't drip down the side of your camper. Finally, we can start cleaning our roof. With all the repairs and inspections done on the roof membrane and the seal, we can grab a soft bristle brush and our rubber roof cleaner. For this roof, we're going to use the Alpha Roof Cleaner, and of course we'll need a garden hose. When you are cleaning the roof, work in small sections and always look before you step back or forward to make sure you don't trip on any components. Cleaning your roof is simple and easy, as long as you make sure that you have everything planned in place. If you don't have a TPO membrane roof, you may have a powdery film, and this is a EDPM roof. Make sure you use the correct solvent for that roof, or you could destroy that membrane. One thing that is essential to have on every RV that most people don't really interact with often are axles. Axles are crucial components that ensure your RV moves smoothly and safely. There are different types such as spring axles, torsion axles, and independent suspension systems, each with its own unique characteristics and advantages. The type of axle used depends on the RV's design and intended use. Now, turning to the components that make up an axle. We have the axle tube, which some people refer to this as the axle beam. You can find the axle identification tag on the center of the axle tube for Lippert Axels, which holds all of the information you would need for part replacement. The axle tube is the main body of the axle. Here at Lippert, we manufacture the axle tube to have camber, which is a slight curve designed to assist with the load. Attached to the axle tube are the spindles, where the wheels are mounted, the suspension system, which includes leaf springs or torsion bars, and this is the connection point between the axle and the RV frame. An RV axle is a central shaft designed to rotate the wheels and bear the weight of your RV. When your RV is in motion, the axles work in conjunction with the suspension system to absorb the shock from the road, providing a smoother ride. It also helps to distribute the weight of the RV evenly across all of the wheels. This is where overloading a RV can stress these components and even lead to irreversible damage of the RV frame or dangerous towing conditions. Understanding your RV axle system is key to maintaining your vehicle's performance and safety. Regular inspections and maintenance can prevent potential issues and ensure a smooth journey on the road, like ensuring your shackles are in the correct position, and you're using the right torque pattern when tightening lug nuts. Lippert is a leading manufacturer of axles and supplies the RV, marine, and utility trailer industries. Our axles are assembled in the United States with a manufacturing process designed by expert automation teams, which means our quality is down to a science, and our parts are traceable to the original lot number. We also provide training to owners and technicians to ensure everyone is a happy camper. That includes checking your tire wear, because this is an indication that something is going awry with your axle or suspension system.
If you like the content so far, subscribe to the Lippert Technical Institute channel to keep up to date with our latest videos and episodes. Don't forget to hit the like button and share your feedback with us. So a lot of people don't realize this needs to be conducted, but you really want to sanitize your freshwater tank. And to do that, you need to perform a little chemistry, and that is adding a little bit of bleach to water and filling your freshwater tank. Let's go ahead and put that bleach in there. We use a funnel to add to the freshwater tank, and we can add that bleach to it. Then we fill the rest up with water, and we let that sit overnight. This will allow that bleach to break down the bacteria inside the tank. If you just do it for a couple of hours, you might not get it all. So make sure that you're waiting that extra amount of time. Once the proper amount of time elapses, now you're going to empty those tanks out and flush it to clean the rest of that bleach out. To do that, turn your freshwater pump on and start to flush that water inside the tank, and open up all of your faucets and your shower and make sure that water is running through all of your hoses and getting that bleach out. That's going to clean all, not just your tank out, but your lines to your faucets as well. So Do that a few times until you can't smell bleach coming out of your faucets anymore, and you should be good to go. Ah! A bit of warning would have been nice, Emily. You know, batteries are a vital element of RV life, and they can make or break your weekend. Understanding what crazy terms and data that are printed on the battery itself may be your saving grace. Unfortunately, all batteries look pretty much the same. It's the design and engineering inside that make the differences, and you really can't see it, so you need to rely on the specifications to know if you have the right one or if it'll even last long enough for your weekend. The first thing you need to know about vehicle type batteries is that there are two common types. You have deep cycle batteries and you have starter type batteries. Deep cycle batteries have more long-term energy delivery, and that is all of those devices inside your RV or your home, your light bulbs, your air conditioning, your microwave, all of those types of things need that long-term energy. And they're measured in amp hours and reserve capacity. That's a capacity type measurement. On the other hand, your starter type battery delivers that quick burst of energy that turns the starter, that starts your motor. And it's measured in cranking amps, which are cold cranking amps, marine cranking amps, or just cranking amps. So you may be wondering, well, what's the difference inside the container of those batteries that allow the deep cycle battery to sustain that energy and the starter battery just to give that punch of energy to start the motor? And that is, each battery has lead plates inside them that store that energy or deliver that current to start the motor. So inside a deep cycle battery, you have really thick lead plates and very few of them. On the other hand, on a starter type battery, you have very thin plates and a lot more of them. This is the technology behind the batteries that allow them to do the different things. So you can see just how important it is to buy the right battery for the right situation. The trouble with batteries to regular users like you and I is the industry labels the batteries in many different ways. The cranking measurements are typically for starting batteries, but you also have amp hours, which is a measurement that looks at capacity. For example, if you have 5 amps that you're drawing from your RV and you use that for 20 hours and it depletes your battery, 5 times 20 is 100 amp hours. And what that's trying to tell you is this type of battery that has amp hours on the label has that sustained usage capability. A rule of thumb is if your battery doesn't have amp hours on the label, you have a starter battery. And it's probably going to talk a lot about marine cranking amps versus amp hours.
Welcome to your Lippert Technical Institute. Are you ready to elevate your skills and knowledge? Whether you're aiming to advance your career or expand your expertise, our free online courses are here to support you. With tailored content on over 30 products, we cater to both technicians and owners, with new additions regularly. Registration is free and easy. Visit lippert.learnupon.com and register. Once logged in, your personalized homepage will keep you updated on your learning journey. And you can click on Catalog at the top and select from a diverse range of courses. We are thrilled to introduce our new Slide Out Learning Path program for technicians. Developed in collaboration with RVTI, this program offers a structured path to achieve your RVTI Level 3 Slide Out certification. This will not only certify you, but also set you on the path to becoming a qualified Lippert Slide Out technician. Stay tuned for more updates as we continuously expand and enhance our content. Start your journey today with Lippert Technical Institute and unlock your potential. Visit lippert.learnupon.com to get started now.
So now you want me to believe that that was an accident out there?
I'm gonna have to be 110% honest here, Charlie. I don't think it was my luck or your luck, but I couldn't have planned that more perfectly.
Seriously? Well, I guess I have to wear rain gear here from now on every day.
Better make sure you keep that in your car.
I will. So make sure to stop by next time to join us as we talk about a few things that will make traveling with a camper a little smoother.
And we will have the answer to another frequently asked question.
If you like what you've seen so far, hit that like button. If you want to see more of our content, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all of our releases and content from the Lippert Technical Institute.